Hello, everyone. I am Julianne Meyer, the host of Own Your Wellness. Welcome. And I got to say, we have a very special, powerful guest today. So powerful that this almost didn't happen. We were having so many technical difficulties. It's not even funny. We had to try again because you just never know when things are going to work and when they aren't. But I actually started with my Adore Therapy chakra boost. It's a communication one. And I'm telling you, this thing works really well. So hopefully it'll work on the technology today. But I don't want to waste any more time because the show that almost didn't happen needs to happen. So I'm very excited to introduce our guest today, Alicia Curry. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
Yes, indeed. I am super excited to make it. All our tech issues have been resolved and we're here live and in person.
Exactly. It's always with the live too. It's never with anything. But we are here. So thank you. Thank you so much. For those of you who are watching us, you don't know how we met, but a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, introduced us, and I'm so grateful to him, Corey Northington. And as soon as I met you, Alicia, I just thought, oh my goodness, I can't wait to talk to her again. She is so amazing. You are doing such great things in the world and just making it a better, more fabulous place for the women in it in particular. And I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself and kind of what you're up to these days.
Oh, thank you so much, Julianne. And right back at you. I was really excited to meet you, and we had a great conversation. So my name's Alicia Curry. I am an author, a speaker, an actor. Actually, I just got approved to be a TEDx speaker. So yay!
Yay!
Yes, I dabble in a little acting, but mostly I'm a corporate consultant, and I really, my passion is really to empower. I don't want to use the word empower really because we are already empowered, but just for women to unleash their confidence and step into their greatness and be who they were created to be. And anything I could do, to facilitate that is really where I'm most passionate about. I'm a Christian, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I've got a couple different businesses going on. So there's a lot I do, but I'm really leaning into my passion for allowing women to be the amazing beings that we are.
I love that. And something that I really like is that you're not confined to one role or box that society might put us into. And like you said, unleashing all these things that are already in us, but maybe we're shying away from or we don't even know it's there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I do want to give a shout out to Corey too, because Corey is a fabulous friend. So yay, Corey.
Yeah, he is. I adore him. I actually get to see him quite often, even though we live in different parts of the world, but
Very
he's a
cool.
sweetheart. But you're talking about this idea of unleashing this power within us and stepping into like our full greatness and the amazingness that we are. What do you think it is that holds women back in particular? Is there one thing that you can think of that comes to mind first?
I don't believe it's one thing; it's a series of things. If I had to qualify one thing, it's our belief systems, how we were taught to believe, how we were raised in our belief systems, that women should be a certain way, who we should be and what we should do. And it takes courage and it takes a little tenacity to break free of the shoulds and actually begin to discover, well, who am I and what is my purpose and why am I here? And instead of what society thinks I should be, can I just step out and discover who I really am instead of that? So I think it will go straight back to how we were raised, what our what belief systems we were raised into, that create for us a frame of what we should be.
I really like that because, like you said, it's never just one thing. It
Yeah.
really isn't. But it's so easy to go along with what society expects of us. I can't even tell you, I'm 45, and I can't even tell you how many people are like, because I just got married, as you know.
Yes.
Um, and how many people say, "Oh, it's finally happening for you. When are you having kids?" And I'm like, listen, I'm not having kids. I'm 45 years old. They're like, it's not too late. And I said, why are you assuming that
That that's what I want.
I
Right. Why are you assuming that it was too late for me to get married? This is the life I chose. I enjoyed my singlehood. I enjoyed my single life. It's like this expectation that out of the womb, we're supposed to be wives and mothers.
Mhm.
And women who are not, who choose a different path, are suddenly something's wrong with them. I mean, my daughter, my oldest daughter, who will be 26 soon, and they hate when I talk about them. I just get, Mom, why did you mention me? But she's decided she is not wanting to be a mother.
Mm.
And that's her choice. I can't say, well, I want to be a grandmother, so you have to be a mother. That's her choice, you
Yeah.
know? My other daughter is, she's like, yeah, I do want kids. And my son is on the fence. He's still young. But, I'm not beholden to being a grandmother, making them have to bring me grandbabies in order to
Mhm.
be a grandmother. It's their life. They get to choose.
Exactly. No, and I appreciate that because I was really my mom passed away when I was 14, so I don't really know how things would have ended with her, but my father has always been very supportive of every choice that I make. However, he was extremely grateful that I got married. He never pressed it on me or anything, but we actually had a wedding so he could walk me down the aisle, and
Yeah.
I'm so glad we did because I
No.
would have missed out on that experience. But I guess my question for you is, something that I've run into, and I just know without it ever asking you this, that you have too. I'm sure that there have been choices that you have made in your life that people call you crazy for, and then they ask you how you do it.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Quite a few times. Even getting married young, I was like questioned, why are you getting married so young? What is wrong with you? And then after many, many years, they were like, oh, how did you do it? So yeah, that it has happened. It's stepping out, starting different companies, starting a company while I was running another company, starting a business while I was running one, all those things. Why are you transitioning? Why are you doing this? What is wrong with you? You're good at this. Why are you changing? That's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I found, I mean, you told your age. I'm going to tell my age. I'm 54 now, so I'm the reverse of you.
You're like Benjamin Button over there, so don't worry.
I know. And I can't tell you how many things I'm still discovering about myself based on those beliefs that I've
Mhm.
had to shed. And it's like, wait a second, why can't I? Who
Mhm.
said? And I've taught my daughters to do that, my children as a whole, not just my daughter, but especially my daughters, because society will put these expectations on them
Mhm.
to question everything, like question those beliefs. Like, why can't I? Who said? You know,
Mhm.
so every time I do that, I'm like, you know what? I can step into that. Why not? Who's to say that I don't belong here, or I shouldn't do this? And that's what audacious confidence is all about. It's like really being bold and brave enough to step into something that you feel in your heart, in your
Mhm.
in your gut, that you know what, I really think I should be doing this. And I'll give you a quick example of that too. Is many, many years ago, I was being coached. This was my very first coach, and I was being coached, and I saw an opportunity to get into media, to do some television appearances.
Mhm.
And everybody was telling me, no, you're not ready. You don't have you don't have anything to share with TV. What are you doing? But I felt it inside. I'm like, I don't know why. I just feel like I should be on television.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hired a different coach just specifically to help get me booked on TV, help me learn how to book myself on TV. And that's what I did. And then everybody turned around and was asking me. So back to that question is like, well, how did you do it? Can you teach us how to do it? What is that? I'm like, the same ones that didn't think I was ready for it. But then when I did it and I booked myself multiple times, they're like, wow, that's so amazing. How did you do it? So you never know until you actually step out and do something. And that's why I like to say to help unleash, because it's already inside of you. The fear keeps us from taking that step.
You know, something that I was thinking about too as you were sharing this is I was thinking about how women in general are told things that it's impossible for us to do this or we can't do that. And I remember hearing this story about this woman who wanted to, and this is obviously a really long time ago, who wanted to run in a marathon.
Mm.
And they said, no, you can't. They didn't want to, they thought that she wouldn't make it, physically would not be able to handle running a marathon.
Well,
And
that's,
so,
yeah.
yeah. And so they said, no, you can't. And she snuck in and did it. They didn't want to be legally responsible for when she died or whatever.
Right.
It's so funny to me how everything is impossible until it's possible. The 4-minute mile, fly,
Exactly.
all these things. And I'm curious, out of all, because you've done a lot of amazing things and broken a lot of barriers that I mean, even with your last story, you were breaking a barrier of what people could think or thought was possible.
A barrier for myself too. So,
More
yeah,
importantly.
my own barriers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But out of all of the things that you have done or accomplished, what is the thing that maybe for you is that you surprised yourself?
Oh my goodness. I surprise
Like
myself every
your favorite
time.
child.
Every time. Uh, from childbirth all the way through, that surprised me, giving birth to my children. But getting on TV, I didn't know that I had it in me to do that.
Mhm.
Entering a pageant at 50 years old and winning, I didn't think I could
The
do
first time.
my first time. I didn't think I could do that, so I mean, it's just,
Well, I want to interrupt for 1 second because I would love for you to share how you shared that story with another young lady and
the pageant story.
yeah. Cuz
Yeah, so
how you became
that was interesting because, and a little backstory on that is because I have these 7 steps to audacious confidence that I share and I help and I teach. And so one of the steps was an alter ego, build for yourself an alter ego. And my alter ego was something that was so foreign to me at the time that I built it, that it was a beauty queen. That was who she was, because she represented everything that I believed myself not to be.
Mm.
Poised, graceful, beautiful, unflappable, all those things. I didn't think I could possibly, I didn't see in myself. So my self-image was really very different. And so when this opportunity to do the pageants came to me, it came to me 3 times, 3 years in a row. And I kept saying no. The first 2 years I said no. And the third time it came to me, I stopped myself and I asked myself, well, if this keeps coming back to me, why do I keep saying no? What am I resisting in this? And that's one of the steps. What am I resisting? And once I worked through that resistance, I was able to step into it very boldly and do it, and came home with the crown. And so the next year in the pageant, we had like a prayer morning before the actual competition, that Sunday competition, and each of us were getting up to speak and just share from the heart. And I shared with the ladies that were competing, because I had already competed. I shared with the ladies who were competing that, you know, last year was the very first time I ever entered a pageant in my life, and I won. And it's not impossible for you to win your first year. And there were several people who were there for the very first time, had never entered a pageant before in their life too. And one young lady said, when I heard you say that, because I was looking around, and a few of them were here before, like this is their second or third time back. And this was my first time, and I didn't think it was possible for me to win the first time, hearing everyone's stories. But then you got up and you said that was your first time and you won. And I locked in, and I'm like, yep. And she ended up winning her very first time. And so I felt very gratified that I was able to share, something that encouraged someone else to step into their own greatness. And I think that's my purpose, really. And it's not out of ego or arrogance. My purpose is to step into things that are uncomfortable, that are difficult, that I don't even think I could do, so that I can inspire someone else to do it too.
I think that is an absolutely amazing thing, because it takes a lot of vulnerability too, to be able to put yourself out there and make these audacious decisions for yourself. And because we don't live on an island by ourselves, other people are always watching.
And I failed so many times, it's not about failure for me, because failure is a stepping stone to success. So it's not about, again, that mindset of, well, I failed, so I'm not going to try that again. I'm not going to do that again. I mean, I've failed in businesses. I've failed at opportunities. I've failed at a lot of different things, but I've always learned something about myself. So for me, it was never a failure. It was always a learning experience. Even though that didn't work out, what could I take from that experience? What can I take from there and grow from, and pull it into my next thing? Because there's always something to learn.
There is always something to learn. It's like the whole idea of failing forward, or that you only fail if you don't get up. I like those kinds of concepts, because it really takes the sting out of it.
Yeah, and it does sting.
Yeah, it does sting.
When you close the doors of something that you are so hopeful, and it's like, yeah, and you put all your energy and stuff into it, and it just like, you're like, but you learn. And if you don't learn, then that makes it a failure. If you don't take the time to reassess and go back and say, well, what in this could I have done better, or where was the lesson in this? Then you've allowed it to be a failure in your life. And then that's when shame and guilt and all those negative things can start to attack you and prevent you from moving forward.
Yeah, I know. I I really like that. I think that is such a good way to look at it, because I remember I was talking to a it's like I'm trying to make him small or something. He happens to be 19 years old, and he's an actual genius. And he was talking about one of his mentors, and how his mentor said, well, there's no two paths to success and failure. It's one path, and you got to go through the failures to get to the success.
The path goes like this, and it moves back, and it comes around.
Yeah, never linear. But it's all a part of that adventure to get you to where you want to go.
Squiggle.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, exactly.
On that note, it is time for us to go to a commercial. So we're going to be back in just a moment. For those of you who are watching us live, thank you so much for being here. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation about audacious confidence and how you can step into and unleash your power. We'll be right back after these messages.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's just bring our guest, Alicia, back to the show. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you.
Yes. By the way, I love red on you. That's like a power color. I love it.
This is my brand color.
Yes, I love it. I'm like all muted tones. I'm like, I love that. Well, it is audacious. And,
yes, and I used to hide. I used to hide. I
exactly.
was someone that wore black a lot and hide and browns and blacks and didn't want anybody to see me, didn't want to be noticed. So yeah, I had to kind
I
of
think a
go.
lot of women in particular deal with that too. I know that for a long time I was overweight because I didn't want people to see me.
Mm,
And I wore baggy clothes and I did all the things because I wasn't proud of who I was being at that particular time in my life. So it always
exactly.
makes me happy when I see somebody willing to be seen.
That's the important thing. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and be seen. So,
Exactly. So, you and I were talking privately, obviously, and you have something that's coming up very soon. And I am beyond excited. This is kind of a little bit different than a little bit, but the through line is the same. I mean, you're still helping
the
people.
through line is the same, but yes,
It
but
just
it's
looks
a
different.
different opportunity. It's a different
Yes.
opportunity that I'm creating. And again, just to context it for for everyone, because I said, I'm a corporate consultant and
Mhm.
I work with leaders and their teams on helping them work better together. And before that, I had a beauty business. I also help people with their brands, like I said about the media thing. And I was trying to think, how can I pull all this stuff together and offer something for women? And last year, I went through a journey, a personal journey. I was diagnosed back just before the pandemic with DCIS, which is a form of breast cancer, and had last year had surgery earlier this year, and I'm clean, I'm healthy, things are good. But that kind of shifted something inside of me to really want to share, to share a message with women and create this opportunity for them to step out boldly with their own brand, and also do some, you're all about health and wellness, and do some retreats around really owning your own health.
Mhm.
Your Because your health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, then it doesn't matter how much money you have. So doing some things, I've learned so many things through this journey. I worked with a health coach as well, to balance out my hormones, to make sure that I was not just prepared and ready physically for surgery, but the healing process. And that's why I healed so quickly. People didn't even know. A lot of people like, we didn't even know anything was going on with you. You kept going, like you were working, you were doing stuff. Like they didn't see anything until they saw a picture on social media of me in the hospital, and they were like, what is all of that? What is going on? Like, I'm like, yeah, that did happen. So I am offering next year, I'm going to launch these retreats. And one is going to be this phenomenal, in my mind, it's phenomenal, because I wish I had this. This was one of my wish list things. I wish I had this when I was transitioning my business or doing my business, about how do you really pull your brand together, especially so if you're one of these three types. So one, if you have a full-time job, but you have a side hustle and you're not sure how to show up powerfully in that side hustle, that's one. The second category is if you are a multi-hyphenate like me, you have multiple interests and you're trying to do all these different things at the same time, and the message could be a little bit muddied or a little bit confused in the marketplace. People don't exactly know how to buy from you or what you offer and all these things. So that's the second one. And the third one is if you're just starting out and you're really not sure how to get your marketing, your messaging, your sales, all those things together under a branded roof. That those are the people that it really targets. So if you recognize yourself in any of those, I saw the website pop up earlier. That's a website to really connect with me. But on that site, you'll see websites. When you hit that websites button, go to Audacious Concepts Inc., and there'll be a tab that says retreats. We don't have all the details fleshed out yet. We're working on it. Me and my team are working on it. So you can just register or just reach out. If you go to that Alicia 360, just text me, WhatsApp me, say I'm interested, send me information. But just, either get on the mailing list specifically for that, so that when we start launching things out, you'll be the first ones to know, or just send me a text message and we'll get your information so that we can make sure that you have the info you need for that particular retreat. Because I think it's like I said, it's something that I envision. If I knew somebody was doing that, I would have paid, I'd have paid to be there. Like get all that stuff together at one sitting, instead of the agonizing. It took me years of agony, and I'm still working on myself, but it took me years of agony to pull things together.
First of all, before I make my comment, I want to say that I have obviously been to this website, and it's really easy to navigate. So you can go down whichever path you want and go back to the beginning. It's nice and easy. So it makes it, like when you are a multi-hyphenate, then there's this opportunity here, and like, okay, I want this, but I don't want that. And but what I was going to say though was that, I'm the same way. I always create things that I wish had been there for me, or like the learning curve, so somebody else doesn't have to do all the things and take nearly as long as it took you to get to the same spot.
I'm telling you, it's been at least 12 years of working on it to get to this point. And I think now is really the time for me to share all the different things that I've done and I've learned from my style, from my fashion background, from my beauty background, from the things I know in video and photography, and hosting my own podcasts and my own web shows, and getting on media, getting people booked on television, and knowing how to pull your website together, and your brand and your messaging, and the sales message and all the things that you need to do. There's a lot. And so when you consider how long it's going to take you to actually get all those pieces together, when you can spend 3 days with me, I mean, it's not just the 3 days, we're going to have to work on these things before and after, but during those 3 days to really pull it together, uh, it's really priceless.
It is. And it makes a huge difference because you're in the energy in the space with people who are like-minded and looking for the same sort of thing. And that can't be understated because there's something about that. It's not the same thing when you watch something on a screen versus being there.
And you're working on it alone. Like they tell you something and then you have to go off and do it all by yourself. It's like,
yeah. And if you're anything like me, I'm easily distracted. Or if it's really important, I'll say, "Oh, I'm going to do that when I have, this chunk of time."
Block of time. Listen, I've been trying to do something, finding the chunk of time to do it for the last 6 months, and it hasn't happened yet. I thought during my recovery, during my recovery, there's something else that popped up.
It doesn't work like that. That's the whole thing. It's like looking for happiness in the new job or it's that elusive carrot that's on the stick that no matter how far you walk, it's always a few steps ahead of you.
Just ahead of you, right?
Yeah, the pot at the end of the rainbow, the whole, that whole idea.
So that's what that's what was birthed inside of me after surgeries and while I was recovering, thinking about this. It's like, I want to do retreats, man. I want to pour out into women and really get them to own their awesome, like own your incredible self. And hopefully I'm not being too passionate about it, but
oh, heck no, definitely not. I appreciate the passion because it gives other women the permission, which we should have, but
you don't need it, but yes.
But it sometimes feels like, because we're taught, to be strong, but not too strong, to be this, but not to that.
Right, back to what we were saying at the beginning, all these societal conditions and conditionings that we go through. I had a mentor of mine talked about someone in her 80s that came to him. She's like, I've been living my life too much for other people. I'm ready to do me. And he's like, okay. He's like, she's in her 80s. And so you cannot lose your passion for life and growth. And, who are you and what do you want to achieve and accomplish in this world?
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that she didn't give up on her life either, even though she's 80. I don't know about you, but the older I get, I still don't feel my age. It's like,
no, I don't feel my age.
I'm in my 20s now.
I don't feel my age, and I've been told I don't look it, so I try to lean into that more.
Yeah, definitely do not. Like I said, you're Benjamin Button, aging in reverse.
I saw this movie recently, Age of Adeline. I don't know if you ever saw it.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, something happened to her where she froze in time and she didn't age beyond where she was at that moment. Yeah, so she lived for several decades in that same exact age that she was when the incident occurred.
I'm gonna have to watch that now.
Yeah, it is really a fascinating because then she meets the love of her life, but I don't want to give it away. But yeah, she sees the guy who was the love of her life way back when she was that age.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I like that.
She hasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to watch that now. So, we were talking earlier a little bit about you being a multi-hyphenate, and and you touched on this briefly, but I really want to highlight the fact that you have a show of your own. And if you could talk a little bit about what that looks like and where people can find you and all that fun stuff.
Absolutely. So I have two. I have a podcast and I have a web show. I used to have 4, and because I am that overachiever, right? Which the other 2 are on my YouTube channel, so you can always catch those. But one of the shows which you are on is Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, and that's on winwinwomen.tv. You can, if you look at that website's button on Alicia360.com, you'll see one that says Red Carpet CEO. That's my media side. So that's my media and personal branding side. So you'll be able to see all the shows that we have, including the podcast, which is all around leadership. And it's called Leading with Audacious Confidence. Do you sense a little theme there? So we have Unleash Your Audacious Confidence and Leading with Audacious Confidence. The first one is all for women. It's about women, and it's on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. And then the podcast drops when we have new episodes. It drops on Wednesdays, and that is, again, building your leadership voice, learning from other leaders, what they did that failed, how they overcame those things to rebuild their confidence, but also from their coaches. So you get like tips and tools and techniques for elevating yourself as a leader. So those are those two shows that I am currently producing and hosting.
That's amazing. And I like the through line. I like the theme, because without it.
Yeah, exactly. And the other show I know you would love, it's called Love My Body, Love Myself. So that was also a show for women, and it was all about self-love and nurturing your body, nurturing your spirit. So I think, again, that whole journey that I had with my diagnosis and treatment and everything, that show was birthed out of my diagnosis to help women really love themselves again and love the bodies that they were in. Because I was facing losing a part of my body, and I wasn't ready for that. So, yeah.
Exactly. And it's interesting how, I actually had this coach for a while, and something she said really stuck with me. And she's basically coaches about self-love and as a woman, and obviously loving yourself. But something because it's kind of, for some people, really hard to even start. And something she said that I will never forget that made a huge difference for me was, she said, you should research your body parts and know what they do so you can appreciate why you have them. And I thought, wow, even like having your baby toe helps with your balance, for example.
Your pinky toe helps with balance.
Exactly.
Have you ever stubbed or broken the pinky toe?
That's tough. I know. I've broken my toes before. It's painful too, but it's all these things that we just take for granted. If we could just appreciate them, we can at least cultivate that. That's a great start.
That is a big part of self-love, because
really
as a beauty professional, and this is what really started me on my journey to helping people like unleash that confidence within, because in my career in beauty, every time a woman would sit in my chair, they would have something negative to report. Like, can you hide this? Can you fix this? Can you change this? And after many, many years of having hundreds of women sit in my makeup chair, I realized, listen, I was doing the same thing. First of all, like when I looked in the mirror, I was looking at the flaws and what could I hide and what could I change. But like, why can't we sit and appreciate the beautiful things about us? And that's what made me realize that I did not see beauty in myself, that I did not see myself as beautiful. And I had to reframe and create an image in my own mind of beauty that when I looked in the mirror, looked back at me, because I didn't. And that's where I started my journey, transforming my business and going more into this kind of helping people from within change the way they saw themselves.
I love that. I love that so much, because as women, we don't even really, we can see it in other women, but we don't see it in ourselves.
And we don't hear what we're saying about ourselves, but what you say about yourself is heard by yourself. Even though you're not paying attention and actually listening to what you say. Like, how many times a day do you go, like, I wish I could change this, or why, my eyes, oh my God.
I know. I've got crow's feet. Yeah, all these things.
I mean, how many times we do it so unconsciously that we don't realize how many times we put ourselves down and our appearance down, and instead of lifting it up and like looking in the mirror and say, oh girl, yummy, yummy, yummy. Like, why don't we do that? And really mean
allowed
it.
To.
And really mean it. Like, you're the
That's
boss.
the important part, is really meaning it.
And really meaning it.
Yeah.
Like, just get up and look at yourself in the mirror. And the challenge is look at yourself naked in the mirror and not criticize something.
Exactly. On that note, we do need to go to one more commercial break. So we're going to be back in just a moment. And I said hello to everybody who's watching us live. Now it's time for me to say hello to all of you who are watching us on demand. Thank you so much for being here. When we come back, we're going to continue with this idea of self-love, but also the leadership perspective and leading ourselves. And we'll be right back after just a moment.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring Alicia back. Welcome back. Whew. All right. So during the commercial, I was just thinking about what we were talking about in self-love. And I think, too, as women in particular, we're kind of taught not to trailblaze. We're kind of taught to follow the lead of somebody else, whether or not they're male or female at this point in time. But, that I think why leadership is, it's kind of one of those weird things, because we have like leadership in our families and things like that. But when it comes to outside of ourselves or even with ourselves, it sometimes can be difficult. What would you say is one leadership quality that you wish all women could really step into and own?
That's a good one. One leadership quality. Oh,
there's so many to choose from.
And I believe that asking for permission thing and that apologizing thing needs to go. So stop apologizing for everything. You don't even realize how many things you apologize for. So in your leadership, I really want women to step into owning that role. And it's an interesting thing too, that women who come out of a corporate leadership role and start their own business sometimes forget how awesome they were as a leader in that corporate role. And just because they're starting a new business, have this self-image of I'm a newbie, I'm a novice, I'm not qualified, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like, no, everything that you've done prior, my coach always says this. She's like, everything you've done prior, you just bring it right into here. You're just stepping up to another level of leadership when you start your own business. You become the CEO of your business now. You know, that is a step up. It's not like now I'm just down here and I don't know what I'm doing. So it's that mindset shift of not apologizing. So yeah, you asked me for one thing, but I think I gave you three things.
We'll all go together.
They all do kind of go together. Stop asking for permission, stop apologizing, and own the fact that you are a leader and you know what you're doing, and you're not a novice.
Exactly. And I think I shared this with you, but I remember I was talking with somebody who's fairly famous, and I interviewed her, and to me, she was like up here and I was down here. And I gave her a compliment, and then I qualified it. And I said, oh, but you already know, because to me, she was up here. And she's just said, stop. First of all, I'm me.
Yeah, I'm me. Right.
I'm not.
I don't buy in, right? They don't buy into all the media and all the hype and all that stuff. They are just them.
Exactly. It's just this whole other level of being vulnerable to more people. It doesn't matter where you are on the scale of success, you still have the same sort of thoughts, or possibly, I'm not saying everybody's the same, but you could possibly have the same sort of issues that other people have. Just it's just bigger now.
And one of the interesting thing that happens when someone steps into a role of business owner versus working for someone else in leadership, sometimes this happens where they now become afraid to talk to other leaders in organizations because they're, you know, I just have my little business over here. But listen, you are the CEO of your business. You have every right to talk to a CEO of another company, like CEO to CEO. You are running a business. But we have, again, that perception of thinking of ourselves as just, you know, I'm just teeny tiny little old me. Instead of looking at your entity as a business that you run, even if it's just you alone, still a business.
I like that idea too. I just started, I just got a new business partner, and it was time. In order for me to grow my business to the next level, I can't do it alone. And the pieces that I am missing that are not in my wheelhouse, he has. That's what he's good at. But I'll, you know, and I just thought of him and this is just that same idea that I want to share, that it doesn't matter. We can all go through this. Is I thought, well, you're this big time dude. What do you want to do with a little old me?
Little old me, exactly. What do I have to bring to the table? Because we show up small. We enter thinking that we are insignificant or we are not. I've had so many people tell me, you don't know what you bring to the table. And that was true. I did not know what I brought to the table. And then I understood what I brought to the table. And then I'm like, oh no, I am coming with, you know, all these years of experience. I'm coming with knowing this and this and this. And I'm not, it's, you have to know. And that's part of the 7 steps to audacious confidence. I have this step called your spiritual tags. You have to be able to gather your talents, your assets, your gifts, and your skills, and know them, and really be able to articulate them and amplify them. And if you're not doing that, then you will stay small. You, in your mind, you will stay insignificant. So it's an important thing to do.
Well, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And I remember this is exactly the same thing, but I remember a while ago, a coach said to me, write down all of your wins. So when you feel small and you feel insignificant, you can look through and read all the things that you've done and remind yourself of who you are and what you bring to the table.
Yeah. Every time someone reads my bio, I'm like, who is that?
I know.
I did that. You know? Write a bio for yourself. I always tell women, have a photo shoot. Get someone to do your hair, your makeup. Get some fabulous clothes. Do a photo shoot so you could see your beauty. Do a photo shoot. Something else as you were saying that, I just interviewed a guest, and she said that. She's like, write down all the things, and she has it on file on her computer. It says, when you need to see it. That's the name of the file. So when she's not feeling so great about herself, this is when you need to see this. So yeah. And it has all your wins and all the amazing things that you did. So
I love that. Well, we are almost out of time. So I'm just curious. I mean, we've touched on a few different things, but the through line is still the same. It's always about audacious. Is there anything that you'd love to share that maybe you haven't, or something that you want to make sure that we walk away with?
Yes, I definitely want to share that if you go to that site, Audaciously.com, there is an opportunity for you to get the 7 steps to audacious confidence. It's again, go to the websites. You know, I have multiple websites. I got multiple things going on. So go and you'll see audaciousconfidencequiz.com. You can take the Audacious Confidence Quiz, and at the end of that, you're emailed a link to watch. You get the to watch a mini course on the 7 steps to audacious confidence, plus a download of the ebook of the 7 steps to audacious confidence.
That's amazing. I really love that. And then once again, if you could mention too about, I mean, you do so many different things, but I
have to start living with it.
Because I know. And I love that. I love that too. Because people are like, you're a what? I said, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay.
I just do it all. Yeah.
That's what I do. But you have your shows, and I'd love for you to mention those again as well.
Yes. So redcarpetceo.com, you can check it out. And we have opportunities for you to host. If you feel like you need to have your own show, we have opportunities for you to host your own show there as well. So go to redcarpetceo.com. It's on that link in the little website circle thing. And all our shows are listed there. The podcast, Leading with Audacious Confidence, as well as the web show, Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, on Win-Win Women TV. That also, it's on Roku, it's on Amazon TV and Apple Fire TV as well. So you can go check those out. And don't forget the retreats. Check out the retreat.
The retreat is coming up. I'm so excited.
I'm excited about those.
Well, Alicia, I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today. It has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and I feel more confident. So you helped me.
Yay. Awesome. I'm so glad. And hopefully I brought something to the audience as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And everyone, that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you for being here, and we will have a great week, and we will be back again soon.